Sitting on a fence post, chewing my bubble gum.
Sitting on a fence post, chewing my bubble gum.
The sounds of campfire songs can be heard echoing over Buck Lake and Woodbury all summer long from adolescents attending the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department's conservation camp. But 1 week of the summer is reserved just for teachers.
When you look at a tree, one of the first things you want to look at is whether it's the leaf arrangement is alternate or opposite.
Oh yeah, look at the stone.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot more coarse.
It is fascinating, yeah.
Since 1985, the Wildlife Course for Teachers has offered educators a hands-on introduction to fish and wildlife management.
As beneficial as it is to teach kids directly, there's only so many of us in the Fish and Wildlife Department. Our natural resources are a very defining characteristic of Vermonters in the state of Vermont. So the philosophy behind the program was, well, let's teach the educators and hopefully they'll spread the word to all of the many, many children that they teach throughout their career.
This is a really cool connector piece. You find the piece, the species, and nothing's cooler than passing around furry things to the kids. They all love them.
From the moment the week-long camp begins, the educators are completely immersed in all aspects of wildlife management.
There's certainly a portion of it that's lecture because we really just want to increase their knowledge of natural resource and specifically wildlife management so they can then incorporate it into lessons in their classrooms. However, I'm an environmental educator and a big part of what I talk about is experiential education. That's get dirty, that's do exactly what we want our students to do, and that's the best way most people learn no matter how old they are. So on Mondays we take the teachers out and they actually do electroshocking fish in a nearby stream. They actually do netting into the stream to find the micro and macro invertebrates. On Tuesdays we go to wildlife management areas and we hike all day long looking at different habitat components in a variety of areas. On Wednesday, we paddle, we canoe for about 3 to 4 hours in a little wetland and really assess its functions and values to the state and the area. So they do a lot of hands-on.
Okay, so got it's going through the topsoil where all the grass and weeds and muck are.
So we're looking at the hydrology, physical and chemical.
We are looking to identify some of the common trees and shrubs and plants in this area to see what indicators there are of wetland species.
We protect wetlands and a 50-foot buffer zone around the wetlands. So if you're doing anything in the wetland or within 50 feet, it requires a permit. And so we need to know before work happens where the boundary of that wetland is.
Regardless of being outdoors or within a classroom setting, each session is led by an expert in their field.
The unique part of doing it with fish and wildlife is that it's the real deal. You're working with the people who are out there every day and they're so passionate about it.
We have people who've studied bears and moose and all these things that are very relevant in our lives and we hear about all the time. They come and actually talk to these teachers. So like the state expert on every single topic we talk about is the one who teaches that topic. There is no second hand. I don't sit up there and talk about bears because I don't study them.
It's pretty intense, Today we got up at 5:30 in the morning to go on a bird walk, and we have curriculum scheduled until 9 p.m. tonight. It's intensive, but unlike, an online or classroom environment, we're out in the woods, we're on the lake, we're hiking, we're in wetlands, we're just doing so much.
Although the campers are kept extremely busy, no one ever goes hungry, and there's always a little downtime to relax and enjoy the camp experience.
We do play. We go canoeing. Last night we had a guy go night fishing until who knows when. There's certainly downtime, whether it's hiking, birding, or fishing. People get to do that. In the evening we have campfire programs, which who doesn't want to be a kid again? And I think singing around a campfire and doing silly skits, although seems kind of goofy when you read it on the schedule, it's really fun just to get out there and be completely surrounded by this pristine, beautiful environment and just get to laugh and meet people on a whole nother level. And a campfire magically does that every single year.
Pull.
As an added benefit to being held at the conservation camp facilities, participants get to try their hand at skeet and target shooting. The Fish and Wildlife for Educators program can also be taken as a 3-credit graduate course and is open to any teacher or educator.
It's much more of a mix of teachers than I thought there would be. There's a tech teacher and an art teacher, an elementary school teacher, and it seems to be just as valuable for them, and they're just being creative about ways that they'd integrate it.
So I teach English, and sometimes it's really hard to get students to connect with it. When I've taught Thoreau in the past, we do a little unit where we go out and walk around on a trail in the woods right outside the school and observe nature. They get to take pictures and bring those back into the classroom and do some observation writing, kind of in the style of Thoreau. And it's worked really well, so I'm hoping to be able to incorporate more of that into my English curriculum.
So you can begin to compare different communities using this layers and landscape approach.
The goal by week's end is that the teachers leave excited and inspired to share what they've learned with their students.
I think tomorrow's problem solvers are going to need skills in moving between disciplines more than older generations have had to do. And so that interdisciplinary piece of making connections from what we see in the natural world to what's going on in the political arena, or how to make connections between different parts of the landscape and different pressing social issues is really critically important. So having those frameworks that allow teachers to help students get at those connections is fundamental.
A lot of the management issues that we've heard about have to do with people first caring about the landscape, and I think if you get kids outside to see the amazing resources that we have, the forests here, the streams here, then they, as future stewards, will care for it.
Every teacher has different boundaries that they have to work in. They have different schools, they have different rules, they have different curriculum. And whether they're an art teacher or a math teacher, an English teacher, I just hope their motivation to create curriculum that truly gets kids outside is one of the greatest things they can take from this course.